than breast cancer.
I am more than gastric cancer.
I am more than Hodgkin's lymphoma stage 3.
I am more than Lynch syndrome.
I am more than metastatic male breast cancer.
I'm more than PMDD.
I am more than diabetes.
I am more than lupus.
I am more than FAP.
Welcome to More Than a Diagnosis. I'm Den.
And I'm Jess. This podcast is about so much more than cancer, chronic illness, or the labels we've been given. It's about reclaiming our lives, finding community, and thriving in ways we never thought possible.
Whether you're a patient, a caregiver, or just someone curious about what it means to live beyond a diagnosis, we're so glad you're here.
Have you ever caught yourself saying, I don't have time for this when you're feeling big feelings? Like this week, I was so busy and having all these feelings pop up and just being like, I can't do this right now. Like, can I schedule this in sometime to be able to feel my feelings? Because I know this is going to take some time. Have you ever felt that way?
Absolutely. Actually, all the time.
Right? Oh my gosh. Feelings are just a lot.
Yeah. But, ignoring them just doesn't make them go away. It just makes them come out sideways. It feels like an elephant in the room. That's all you can think about. And no matter how hard you try to not think about it, it's there.
Mm-hmm.
And usually it's at the worst possible moment.
So true. So true. So today we're going to be talking all about actually feeling our feelings without spiraling or over analyzing or pretending they don't exist, because that was one that I tended to do quite a bit. Let me just pretend I'm not feeling this way and push through. Whether you're resistant to therapy talk or you are just curious how we are working through handling big emotions, then this episode is for you. So I think that we should start by talking about why our feelings matter, even when we try to ignore them. Because I know that before I was diagnosed with cancer, I was a push through kind of person. I was I don't got time for this. It wasn't that I didn't know I was feeling things.
Yeah.
But it was more like, I'm busy. I've got kids. I've got a partner. I've got things to do. Who has time to break down?
Yeah. No, it's so true. I feel the same way. I've gone through so many moments where I decide pushing through is the best option. I convince myself of that, actually.
Yes.
Even though a part of me is like, I don't know about that. And I'm like, nope, we gotta push through. We gotta, come on, let's just get over it.
Yep.
Just get over it. How many times have I caught myself saying that?
Oh my gosh.
Just get over it and push through. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Yeah, not exactly.
It doesn't really work that way, though.
It doesn't. And I've noticed that pushing through that way, I'm not processing anything at all.
Facts.
I'm just trying to get to the end point.
Yes.
And the body knows when you haven't processed something.
Oh man, that is so true. Because it's going to show up, right?
Exactly. Attention headache, for example.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Or back pain.
Blowing up at somebody and over the silliest little thing where you're not even upset really at them. Mm-hmm. It's that you've been bottling up these emotions, and so they come bubbling out when you least expect it because you never handled them, right?
Yeah. Or then you start bursting into tears over, dropping a bottle of sesame seeds all over the place.
Right?
That actually happened to me.
Oh no.
Everywhere. Sesame seeds are so tiny.
Yes.
Everywhere. And it was not about the sesame seeds.
No.
I had so many emotions pent up in my body, and they came out as soon as those sesame seeds hit the ground.
And you're like, why am I crying over sesame seeds?
Exactly. But it wasn't about the sesame seeds.
Yep.
No, I didn't know that at the time. So I felt like I was going crazy.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing.
Oh, yeah. Big time. You start questioning yourself a lot, too, when you're not feeling your feelings, because then you're like, why am I so crazy? But you're not really crazy. Yeah. I think I was a little afraid back when I wasn't so aware of how to feel my feelings. I think I realized in hindsight that I was afraid that if I felt my feelings, that I would just get stuck there forever.
Yes, same.
I felt like if I start crying about this, I'm never going to stop. And I felt like it wasn't going to be something that I could move on from. I felt like I'm going to feel like this forever. So I don't want to feel it.
Exactly. Especially if those feelings are heavy and have been lingering for years. The longer those feelings are brewing inside of us, the tougher they will feel.
Yep.
And you're afraid to feel stuck in it because, well, it's uncomfortable.
It's so uncomfortable.
It doesn't feel good.
No.
And that fear of being stuck in those feelings is scary.
It is. It's so overwhelming because it's almost like you don't even know where to start.
No.
And I think that was a hard thing for me that I didn't learn until I was going through active cancer treatments and I was going through chemo and I was having all these big feelings, and it was almost like I've said this analogy before, but I feel like what was happening to me was I had boxed up all these feelings from my 38 years of life at that time. I'd put all these little feelings in boxes, put them in the closet, shoved them in the corner. They were all covered with dust. And when I was going through chemo, it was like these boxes were just like jumping out of the closet at me and I couldn't stop them. And so I had to learn, what do I do with this? Because I can put all these feelings back in the box and shove them back in the closet, but obviously they're trying to come out. So how do I do this? And so I feel like there's some steps that I've learned. And I know we've talked about this a little bit about how to actually feel our feelings. And
Absolutely.
Where do we start with that?
Well, what I've learned is the first thing that I noticed is I actually started to notice more. I became more aware, more mindful of what I was feeling. Like I'd be going out for a walk and suddenly I could feel it was anxiety.
Yeah.
And I would stop and ask myself, hey, what's going on? There's a shift all of a sudden. You're not at ease anymore. Your heart's racing.
Yeah.
You're sweating. Your thoughts are going crazy, bouncing all over the place. And that alone, just asking, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
That right there, just taking the moment to acknowledge my feelings.
Yes.
That right there, I feel was a game changer for me.
That's huge.
Because I had gone through navigating life and not really being aware of my feelings and when I would feel them and how they would feel, how they would impact what I was currently doing at the time.
Because I feel like you feel like you're going to get stuck in it. And so you're just pushing through it. So you're not acknowledging it. Yes. And so I think it's so true. You have to acknowledge and recognize that those feelings even exist. And then you were starting to lean into this, but then you're naming it. So we're acknowledging it. And then we're naming it. We're saying, okay, I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling angry.
Yep.
And I think sometimes I can't speak for everybody, but for myself, I think that sometimes I used to feel like anger and sadness and these quote unquote negative emotions were bad.
Exactly.
And that I shouldn't feel that way.
Yeah.
And so I would just try to ignore them because instead of naming them and acknowledging them, I'd be like, no, I shouldn't feel like this.
Yeah. And I'm going to go back for a little bit, but naming your feelings can be so incredibly powerful. There is power, and I didn't know this because I was so afraid of labeling my feelings, like you said, anger, sadness. It wasn't okay. It was frowned upon.
Yes.
We don't touch or talk about those negative feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah. But just naming them, I feel anxious. There's so much power in that phrase. And then after that, I noticed that I was oftentimes saying, I shouldn't feel this.
Yep.
I shouldn't feel this. It's almost like the complete opposite.
Yeah.
From I shouldn't to let me name it.
Yes.
And when you put those two together, naming it and then letting yourself feel like it's okay to feel those things, I feel like they both go hand in hand.
I totally agree. I think acknowledging, naming it, and dropping the shoulds, all three of those things, all three of those steps, when they are happening kind of simultaneously, right? In that moment, we're saying, okay, I'm feeling this way. I'm feeling whatever the feeling is in my body that I'm feeling. And then I'm naming what that feeling is. And then I'm saying it's okay for me to feel this way. And then the hard part is to then sit with that.
Yeah. Ooh, that's the part. Yeah, I struggle with that part still.
Yeah.
To this day. And, you know, once you allow yourself to feel, as scary as it is, it's so important to let yourself sit with it.
Yep.
You have to sit with it.
And it's so uncomfortable.
It's awful.
Especially, again, if it's one of those feelings that we've been conditioned that we shouldn't have, right? Especially as like female presenting people in the world, we shouldn't be angry, or we're already labeled as overly anxious. And so we don't want to appear to be anxious.
Not only that, but how many times have you caught yourself being judgmental towards yourself? That self-judgment is so real. Because you say to yourself, I said to myself, why am I feeling angry? I should be so happy I'm alive. I'm so grateful. But it's not about that. You can feel both at the same time. And what I noticed is once I decreased the self-judgment, it almost opened a door where I could freely sit in it. Without judgment, without, with self-compassion.
And I don't know about you, but I also realized that I had to start thinking about where did those feelings come from? Like, why do I feel like it's bad to be angry? Why do I feel like it's bad to feel anxious? Why do I feel like it's bad to be sad? Why do I feel that way? Where are those messages coming from? And then once I realized, okay, this is conditioning from a long time in my life, from outside sources, and I've then put it on myself, and now I need to release that and be like, no, it's actually okay that I feel this way. And then I've had to learn how to express those feelings. Right? Because we can sit with them, but we don't stay there. We have to learn to express them, which there's different ways that we can express them, right? Sometimes it's as simple as just literally saying it out loud. Just saying, I'm so mad right now because XYZ. And it could be that easy. Or even if you don't want to say it out loud, you can like write it down, and write down and say, this happened and it made me angry. And then you rip it up and throw it away. But it's finding a way to express it so that you can release it.
Yeah. I feel like something as simple as listening to music. That's been a really powerful outlet for me. And when that song, the right song hits, and you let it really do its job and surround you, and you basically surrender.
Surrendering to those feelings.
Yes. And those feelings will come out. It's a release that I feel. Also, crying for me is a really effective way to express my feelings. I didn't realize how much because I grew up a certain way, and crying wasn't necessarily the best way to express my emotions. It really wasn't. It was at times frowned upon.
Well, I think we were both very sensitive children.
Very.
I remember when you were in kindergarten, or was it pre-K or kinder? And when you came to our school and you didn't speak English and you would cry every day. Well, same, like when we were in first grade, I cried every single day. And I feel like being highly sensitive children, and especially girls, I feel like we were conditioned that wasn't okay. It wasn't okay to be soft. It wasn't okay to be emotional. It wasn't okay to cry. It wasn't okay to feel our feelings.
Yeah. And now I'm letting those gates open.
Same.
And letting those tears flow. And what I found is it's extremely healing.
Yes, it is.
It is. Even, the way our tears are composed, it's healthy for our skin. It's overall a win-win.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
It really is. And one big thing that I also noticed is once I was kind to myself and showed self-compassion and said simple words such as, it's okay to feel sad.
Yeah. Yep.
Like I mentioned earlier, like that kindness, that self-compassion is so important.
It really is. And I think one of the ways that I've been able to learn how to be kind to myself, because that didn't come naturally, to be kind to myself, I have learned to ask myself, if I was talking to you, right? Or if I was talking to one of my daughters and they were feeling these feelings, what would I say to them? And if I would tell them it's okay to cry, if I would tell them you have every right to feel angry right now, if I would be validating their feelings, then I should be doing the same thing to myself or for myself.
Absolutely. I say the same thing, but in my case, it's, would I say that to one of my patients?
Yeah.
Would I say that? Would I say, get over it? Why are you feeling all of this? It happened so long ago. Move on?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that to a patient of mine.
Yep.
I would show empathy and compassion.
Yep.
So why can't I do that for myself? Was the $1 million question.
Yep. Yep. So
and
true.
Once I discovered that I can be kind and show self-compassion to myself, boy, did things change.
Yeah.
Slowly. But they definitely made a difference.
Definitely. Yeah.
But it was
Yeah.
hard to actually get to that point.
Oh, it is. It's hard to get to the point of being kind to yourself, which is crazy because it is a game changer, but we're not conditioned to love ourselves and to be kind to ourselves in that way. And so I feel like when we give ourselves permission to feel those feelings, we feel them, we validate them for ourselves, and then we're able to regroup.
Yes.
And I feel like this is something that you're really good at. Like, I feel like I've learned so much from you about how to, and now we're going to use a really woo-woo word, but how you ground yourself.
Yes.
Watching you recover from being triggered by something and hearing you talk about, okay, this is what I'm doing in the moment to try to regroup.
Oh, grounding is absolutely necessary. It's essential in healing. Especially if you're not wanting to feel, but you're triggered. Because that's usually, in my case at least, what happened. I was triggered, but I didn't want to feel. And then you start losing touch with reality. You're no longer present. So in order to get back in the game, you've got to ground yourself. And there's so many different ways. I love reading about grounding and so many outlets to ground yourself. In my case, I love to focus on my 5 senses.
Oh, yes.
Because, the more senses you involve, the easier it is to ground yourself.
Do the five things. Name something that you can see. Name something that you can smell. Is that how you do that?
It's how I started.
Or do you do it differently?
Learning. It started with the name 5 things you see, name 5 colors you see, and then I kind of fine-tuned it for myself. So I applied it to spending time with nature because I found that nature for me is incredibly grounding. Absolutely necessary. I need to spend time with nature daily. So once I go out there, then I start asking myself, all right, what's 5 colors you see? What smells.
Yeah.
You know,
what things do you hear?
What do you, yes, exactly. All of that.
Well, because I feel like doing those things helps put you back in your body.
Exactly. Yes.
Because when you're feeling these big feelings, you kind of start disassociating, right? And so then you're not, like you were just saying, you're not in touch with reality.
Yes, you're not. And even something as little as a smell can take you back to a memory, a good time or a bad time. But I use smells to kind of help me snap out of it and bring me back to the present moment. And I use specific smells that I know aren't going to be triggering in a negative way, just to make sure, you know, and also taste. Sometimes I will make myself chew ice, and I know that can be triggering for some, especially if you've gone through, you know, certain types of chemo.
Chemo.
So that might not be, you know, the best suggestion for some. But maybe just drinking something warm. Just something to the extreme temperature, or chewing something with texture that's gonna kind of, I don't know. Break.
Yeah, something that just kind of like breaks that. Yeah. I think that definitely that helps to regroup. And there's so many different ways. And I think it's really, like you said, it's kind of fine-tuning what works for you. And figuring out how you can feel what you need to feel to ground yourself, because it helps you work through those steps. And then the thing is we have to repeat this as often as we need to, because sometimes you have to do it multiple times in the same moment for the same feeling, right?
Dear.
You can go through those steps. You can acknowledge it. You can name it. You can drop the shoulds. You can sit with it. You can express it. You can be kind to yourself. You can regroup, but then not really be done feeling it. And so then you kind of have to start all over again.
It's on repeat.
Yes. And sometimes going through that process one time is enough to help you be able to move past that feeling. But sometimes it takes longer than others.
Absolutely. And I'm a firm believer in the more you work on finding ways that work for you to ground yourself, the better it will feel to process feelings, because you know you're going to be okay. You're not going to get stuck. You know?
It's easy to feel like you're going to get stuck. I think that there's some roadblocks, though, when it comes to how to feel your feelings. I know that there were for me, and I know that there's some things that I can think about off the cuff where I'm like, okay, these are things that I had challenges with, and I'm sure that there are other people who also experience this. I know we talked about in the beginning not having time to deal with these feelings, or feeling like we don't have time. But I think another one that's really tricky is not even knowing what you're feeling.
That roller coaster of emotions that just hits you upside the head, and you don't know how to unscramble
and you're
it.
like, you're like, am I mad? Am I sad? Am I angry? Because some people have this conditioning where their default feeling is anger, but they're not really angry. They're sad, and it's become like a defense mechanism to feel angry instead of sad, because it's not okay to feel sad.
And the body's accepted it, which makes it absolutely confusing when you've been conditioned to label your feelings one way, but that's not exactly what you're experiencing. It's a lot to sort out. It's the way I've talked about this with my therapist is I'm like an onion. And an onion has so many layers. And when I say to her, I cannot decipher my feelings right now, then she will mention the onion. And that gives me the visual I kind of need to, okay, just take a deep breath. And let's slowly start peeling these layers.
Peeling back the layers.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think that that's being patient with yourself, which then goes back to what we were talking about before, is loving on yourself and telling yourself that it's okay, and being patient with yourself to get to the point that you will start to recognize what it is you're feeling once you give yourself permission to feel those feelings. And I think that sometimes for people, they can feel like when it comes to these feelings conversations that it's so woo-woo, right?
Absolutely.
There's a lot of stigma around feeling your feelings and naming your feelings and grounding yourself and all these buzzwords that we hear people using when it comes to talking about these things. But the thing is, when you deal with something like being diagnosed with cancer or you're living with a chronic illness, there's a lot of big feelings that go into that. There's a lot to unpack. And so I think it's, for some people, the first step is just recognizing that it's not woo-woo. Nobody's asking you to go journal under the moon. Unless that's what you want to do. I love that. No judgment, because I get down with the woo-woo shit. But not everybody does, right? And so I think it's recognizing that therapy is okay. More than okay.
Absolutely. And
feeling feelings doesn't mean you're weak.
And it's okay to not be okay. I just want to throw that out there in case I forget later on. But it's, I know I am constantly repeating this, but it's because I truly believe it with every part of me. It's okay not to be okay. And it took a really, really, really long time to come to terms with that tiny little phrase. But it truly is okay to not be okay.
Yep, it really is. Yeah. And the thing is if we don't feel our feelings and if we don't give ourselves permission to not be okay sometimes, it will catch up with us. And I have so much to say about that I feel like we can't even start talking about that because it's going to open a whole
Pandora's
can of worms.
box is going to burst open.
Literally. But if you don't feel your feelings, they will come out in your body. They will manifest in your body, period. Like if you hold on to, let's say that feeling of anger or that feeling of fear, and then later on you notice that your head hurts or that your back hurts or that your stomach hurts, that is your body trying to process those feelings that you have not.
And feelings are powerful and they can easily take over.
Yes.
They really, really can if we let them. But I feel like if we name them and actually address the feelings, we're taking away the power that those feelings have over us. You know? So I feel next time a big emotion hits, let's try to just sit it out, sit with those feelings, name the feelings, and just try to let go.
Yeah.
And it's easier said than done.
I think it boils down to realizing that feelings aren't the enemy. They're just information. And the more that we learn to actually feel our feelings instead of avoiding them or overanalyzing them, that's the less power that they have over us. And so the next time that you have a big emotion hit, just try it. Just try to sit with it, try to name it, and eventually it will pass. It's not easy, but give it a try.
If you're listening to this thinking, that's nice, easier said than done, we get it. We totally get it. And yes, it is definitely easier said than done. But we don't have to be perfect at it. We don't. We just need to try and start from the beginning, right where you are. Don't, go reinventing the wheel. Just.
Yep. Until next time, please take care of yourselves and remember to feel your feelings.
Thanks for joining us on More Than a Diagnosis. We hope today's conversation left you feeling seen, heard, and maybe even a little more connected.
If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who might need it.
And if you're looking for a place to connect with others who truly get it, join our support circle at morethanadiagnosis.org, where we will continue this conversation. It's free, it's welcoming, and it's built for you.
Because no one should have to navigate this alone.
Until next time,
keep living, keep growing, and remember,
you are more than a diagnosis.